What's up everybody, SK here of course. Now, whether you're in the market for a new pair of Bluetooth headphones, replacement, or just an extra set, this should be helpful to you because you're probably in the same position that I was in and not really sure what to really go with. So I decided to get a few of them, try them out, and then just return what I didn't like. And so this will certainly be a review on these specific models, but will also help to serve as kind of a guideline for the different price ranges. So before we get started, be sure to hit that like button, leave those comments down below, let me know if you have any questions, and be sure to just leave your comments to help other people when they watch the video as well. And before you leave that little area, hit that subscribe button too. So this won't be long, let's get started. Is A1. Now it's just some kind of Chinese brand that's sold on Amazon. These are the obviously the Goldilocks, the middle there, about 25 bucks. And it has a little screen you can see there. It's showing like, you know, what the battery is. It's supposed to charge up, but I don't think there's much juice left in the case. It does all right, but it's not really gonna, I don't know. It might charge it back up like once. I wasn't really, I don't know. I guess like this, I've charged up this case pretty well, and these headphones, now the headphones last pretty well, pretty long time, but the case didn't really seem to charge them back up all that much, so I'm not quite sure what's up with that. The plastic, you see me kind of fidgeting with it, it's very cheap. Well, this is kind of soft vinyl, but if I was outside, like, just on the street, and I dropped it from right here, like, chest height or something, it's gonna crack this thing. This is cheap plastic. It's very thin. There's not like rubber built into it, so it has some kind of rigidity. So that was one thing that I really noticed, and it's a very light case, which isn't a bad thing because you're gonna have it on you. You don't want a lot of weight weighing you down in your jean pockets and stuff. But it's super light, like almost, even with the earbuds in there, almost indistinguishable that it's in your hand. Now let me go over a couple of things that I had to note about it. Out of the box, came with about half the charge, kind of normal with battery type stuff. Came with 75% charge. It still took another 45 minutes to charge this bad boy up. Now, it did connect easily, so that I will say. Just had to turn off and on the Bluetooth one time, and then it grabbed it. That's really not a big deal. It could be a little bit better, but I mean, for anybody, just flick off the Bluetooth, flick it back on. It immediately caught, and in case you're wondering, it's going to show up as A1. So that's what you need to select, and it's that simple. Hey, and don't forget, be sure you subscribe to SK Lifestyle. Yeah, that's right. You just want to hit that subscribe button right there and that notification bell. Definitely pretty good audio quality for the cheaper price. I definitely noticed that it was a higher quality sound than the cheaper ones that we bought. The lowest setting for sound was pretty good. Now, yeah, I know everybody wants to see how, what does it sound like with the bass turned up and all of that. I mean, yeah, there's people out there that want to listen like that, but there's a lot of people that want these just to be able to talk to somebody or just to listen to like some low level jazz or something while they're, doing some work or something like that. You know what I mean? Not everybody wants it all the way turned up. And you might be in situations where you actually need to hear and listen and talk, but you kind of want something just on in the background. So the lowest setting on this was pretty good. I really couldn't complain. To me, at least, I don't like when the lowest setting still feels like if you're on a scale of 0 to 20 and you're expecting to be at a 1 and it feels more like you're at a 4 or 5. That's too much sound for me if you want it all the way. But I hate when it's just that cutoff. It's like it's either a 5 or nothing, mute. So these did pretty well with that. Now the manual that it comes with, even though it's just a cheap little Chinese company, it did come with an English manual. Now the manual was pretty simple to understand. It wasn't convoluted at all. It was very concise and it made sense. It wasn't like using English words, but it was broken. It was fine. And most of it you can kind of figure out on your own. I did quickly check out how to use the touch sensitive buttons. And it was like, 1 tap to pause, 2 tap on either side, to turn up and down the volume. Obviously, the 2 taps on the right for up, 2 taps on the left for down, that sort of thing. And yeah, I think that was pretty much it. So I can respect these. I think that they serve their purpose as a mid-range, at least for this. Of course, you can go up to like $500 if you wanted to. These wouldn't be a mid-range. But I think for the average person looking for something between, 10 to 50 bucks is probably what most people are looking for. Now, if you're the Apple shopper, the Samsung, you want the Galaxy Buds or the AirPods, there's tons of reviews on those compared to each other. So I wanted to do something for the rest of us. Now, I'll go on to the cheaper ones. This has kind of like an original, like the plastic I don't know, on some of the original smartphones, it's kind of shiny. It's a little thicker, believe it or not. And even this one, this cheap pair is almost weighted as much as these bigger ones. It has a pretty good quality to it, believe it or not. Nothing fancy, just a little button right there can kind of tell you whether you need to charge it or not. And that's pretty much it. Kind of let you know where you're at. Both of these, and I guess I should show them, right? You can see the actual AirPods. So these two are both the same kind of design. So on the left here is the medium version ones. Nothing crazy, just standard look. And here's the cheap ones. So following the same suit, this is like a matte plastic. This is like a shiny plastic. They both fit in your ear. Both of them just sat in very well. They stick super well. There's almost no comparison between the two. They just fit in very nicely. So I can definitely appreciate that. Now for this cheap pair, I will say, these were actually just over $8 on Amazon. There's going to be a lot of people that just want to spend the least amount, but get something that is doable. And I completely understand that. So that's also why I included these. Now these took up to 2 hours to charge. And I'll be honest, they only lasted about 2 hours. Now, I don't know if it says this case is charging or not, but it certainly didn't. Yeah, see, it's just red. It's not charging. So maybe it says it, maybe it's supposed to. Perhaps this case is dead and that's why. But it would be weird. Like once it says it's finished charging, I'm assuming that the earpods are charged up and the base is charged up. So once I throw them back in once they died, if it's not charging up, then I don't know, right? So, and the fact that they only lasted 2 hours, just listening to like YouTube or whatever, but then it also leads you to believe even if the case charged up, how much does it really hold a charge? I mean, maybe one more use. So even if it was able to charge, the max you would get 4 hours, but I'm going to say two out of this puppy. Now, the quality was very basic. It sounded like very stereo sounding. You know what I mean? Nothing fancy whatsoever. It says there's noise canceling, very meager. If it was there, I didn't really notice. Kind of just having earbuds in my ear was like the noise canceling effect of just drowning out sound. But lower sound quality, I would say was pretty bad. It was one of those that goes from the 4 or 5 to 0. There's not really an in-between. It's either kind of on or it's not. That I didn't really like. Yeah, but the touch sensitive buttons were okay. They did want to access Google a lot. So I wasn't really, that fancy about that. And what was the other part that I wanted to see? I felt like they were kind of a little too touch sensitive and I couldn't really figure out exactly what point. Now it's also the kind of thing when you have them for a while and you use them, you're going to kind of just be second nature. But just trying to get used to it right away, I felt like the middle ones here, the A1s, were a little easier and more consistent on an initial press and easier to kind of figure out. Be that what it may. And actually, I said it was about 2.5 hours for full use. And basically, it did give a 10% warning. When it was about 10% from dead, but don't believe it because it said 10%, and then maybe it was the truth, but then like 8-9 minutes later, it just cut out. You know what I mean? So once you get that 10% warning, throw them right on the charger because you're about to die. You don't have that long. You know what I mean? Which I don't know. So comfortability, I give it a 7 out of 10. I'd say the same for these A1s as well. It's about a 7 out of 10. And yeah, they fit pretty well. I'm sure, you know, $300 Samsungs are going to fit a little more snug. But having used these for a couple hours each, you know, if they were really annoying, I would feel it. I have those kind of ears where if something's just not right, I'd notice it. And they were okay. That's the cheap pair. They worked. They did their thing. They don't last long. This pair certainly lasted a lot longer. They still held the charge. I used these for, I want to say, at least 3 hours. And they still had charge left, okay? Now, I did throw them back in the case, so maybe it got to charge up a little bit, but these actually do last. And I think, all right, so I just looked it up real quick, little TV magic there, cut away. So these are actually supposed to last about 5 hours just on their charge, and then the case is supposed to be able to charge it about another 4 or 5 times. So that's how you get a total of 30 hours on it. I will say it is slightly waterproof. So, you know, if it's raining a little bit and stuff, it's supposed to be able to fend against that. And the other feature this does have is wireless charging for the case. So, you know, if that's of interest to you, then there you go. Now, finally, on to the JBLs. Now, clearly, this is a more reputable brand, at least from initial view. So, obviously, this is like an official, you know, corporate product and all that stuff. Everybody's heard of JBL. I mean, got JBL in my Highlander. So these are a different design though. They're like the little buds. You know what I mean? So I'll go ahead and throw one in here, which is the left. I'll throw it in the right. These, I'll say, when I first put them in, I put them in like backwards, and they seemed a little bit funny. But once you understand how they're supposed to sit in your ear, which I mean, it's really only take you a minute or two to understand, then you can kind of be okay with it. And you can see I'm still like trying to remember the spot. I mean, either way, they don't feel bad. One thing I will say though, is they stick in, but I don't think they stick in as well as these two, that kind of design. You know, if these are a 10, like 0 out of 10, these are a 10, this is like a 7 or 8. They stick in. I still feel like I could go run and everything with them. But since they're short and they're so, you know, fat on the outside there. Here, I'll hold the ear part. That's, you know, you see how fat they are. That's a lot of weight hanging out of your little earlobe. So I feel like you can kind of notice it a little bit. And if anything's going to fall out, you would think it'd be these first. Now, that might not be the case, but that's the way it feels. But again, you can go jog or something with these. You can see, shaking my head pretty hard, not coming out. So this is a pretty basic case. It does have a little light up light in the front there to kind of give you an indicator of how much charge is left and so forth. The case is that cheap plastic as well. If I drop any one of these though, even this one actually may crack or just scratch a little bit. This cheap one, believe it or not, will probably last the best. If we did a test from 4 feet and dropped them, but a couple, that one would still crack. These two, I feel like, would crack on the initial drop. So just understand that. It's not, again, it's very cheap. It's like, yeah, it's like a 1/16 of an inch, as small as you can think. It's very thin, like 2-3 pieces of paper is how thin this plastic is. Just basic USB-C charger in the back. Now, these did have the best sound, that's for sure. They do have noise canceling. I didn't notice. Again, same thing. It was kind of like if it's in my ear, then it's blocking out the noise. I could kind of pick it up a little bit at low sounds in the room that it was helping with. But I actually had like construction going on for our bathroom upstairs. So that's a pretty good test of some sound. And you know, when I took it out of my ear or whatever, I didn't really notice it like that. Like I have headphones that are true like noise canceling. And I mean, there could be major sound out and it is like as if somebody's just whispering it to you. You know what I mean? And it's very clear and stuff like that. So, you know, as far as noise canceling, I'm sure there's some, you know, electronic or some kind of algorithm in there, whatever you want to call it, some kind of program helping out. And it may work, but I don't sit there and think that you're going to just block out the room. Like you got these huge, I don't know, beats on or something, you know, Dr. Dre beats on or something. You know what I mean? It's not like that. So, soon as I took them out of the box, like literally as soon as I went like this and pulled one from the case, my phone immediately popped up and asked, do I want to connect to this Bluetooth? I didn't even have to go into Bluetooth settings. Now that's probably because it has like, what was it, built-in, Alexa. Oh, it has the built-in Google and Alexa or whatever to run with it. So it's probably already primed up with these phones and so forth, and that's why. But that's a really nice thing. If you're somebody that doesn't want to understand really anything about technology, these were very simple. It was the big box on the screen, click OK, and the sound immediately played. That simple. So, you know, these do have the touch sensitive pieces as well. And same kind of thing, like double tap on either side for up or down. Comfortable. Yes, they are comfortable. All of these were comfortable. None of these gave me a problem as far as wearing them for a while. I wore these again for about 3 hours, and they were certainly fine. Actually, I have here, I used them for just over 2 hours, so we'll say like 2.5, just like the other ones. At the end of that time, though, these had 90% charge left. That's right. I actually go into my settings right now. I'm just kind of curious, what is it showing? I've used them a little bit here and there since. Okay, so it's showing 100%. Well, maybe because this one's in there. Let's see. No, they're 100%. That's because they got charged back up. So that's all right. Now, again, this does recharge for you. So that's pretty nice. And I think it calls it out here, right here. 10 hours for the headphones and then 30 hours in the case. So you got a core 40 hours. Now, I know this one said 50 to 60 hours. That might be true. I mean, but this, I definitely can say that it can probably reach that mark. Now, I haven't used it for that amount of time, but if you use it for 2.5 hours, you have 90% left. You know, I mean, obviously at that point, it's probably going to start dropping off, you know, significantly if they're only supposed to last for 5. But it's just a testament that they do really hold up a charge. And the case is really working because, you know, I've used these a few times, threw them back in, and they're all fully charged. And I can see that I have basically, you know, half of the charge left in the case. So that's really nice. One other thing I wanted to call out here, which was, you know, well, of course, they got the little bit of water resistance possibility to it. That the other piece here, the clear sound, certainly, when I talked on the phone and everything, these were certainly the best. I went over the water resistancy, you know, for rain and stuff. The bass, it does have a little bass feature or whatever, and you can actually like turn it on or off. It worked, you know what I mean? It sounded pretty good. But yeah, it's just kind of what you expected. As you went up in price point, the quality of at least the sound. Now the feeling, I don't know. Maybe these are built a little bit better than those, but you know what I mean? As far as like the actual materials, I don't think the materials have changed that much. But as far as the quality of the battery, the quality of the sound is certainly increasing as you go. So hopefully this was helpful to you. I didn't want to make it too long, but you know, I wanted to give a little bit of perspective on each one. Now, what is SK going to do? Because I got 3 of them, I got to return them. The way I thought I was going to do this is, you know, I might actually just keep these middle ones. You know, they were only just over 20 bucks. They last pretty long. They had a decent sound to them. They were just very easy to use as well. And then I was almost thinking that I might keep these little cheap pair around, believe it or not. Because these are the kind that I could use somewhere where, you know, I don't know, I might be in a place where I might be more apt to lose the headphones. Well, if I got my $8 pair with me, but I really need my headphones still, then if something happens, I'm not going to be that mad. And then I could keep my slightly better pair for what I use, you know, in the office or stuff like that and whatnot. The JBLs, I have 0 problems with them. I do really like them a lot. But I just think for less than the pair, for this pair, I can have a really decent pair that work just fine and can charge up a little bit and has some of the features this one has. And it's supposed to last a good amount of time. And then I can also have a nice little backup pair that I know work. They're not fancy, and I know they'll only last a couple hours, but hey, I at least have them if I need them. So again, that's just how I'm rolling because I'm an average consumer. Like, these are things that you probably won't get from some like CES or whatever the channel is, like tech channels and stuff. You know, be like, well, you gotta go with this one's the best. Yeah, well, it is kind of the best out of these, but it wasn't so much so that I'm like, yeah, let me just take these for $50 when I can have both of these for $30. So that's where I stand. I do kind of like some of the better ones, like the AirPods and the Galaxies. I have a Galaxy Watch, I have a Galaxy phone. I probably will end up with some Galaxy earbuds. My wife actually has a brand new pair from her new Galaxy 23, and they feel really nice. They worked really well. They sound good. They certainly sounded at least as good as this, probably better. And they fit well. They did everything that these could do and maybe a little bit better. But again, they're like $290 or something. She luckily got it for free with a whole deal with her phone. But yeah, I'm just really not there yet. I don't really want to spend the money. We're in the market to do a lot of different things this summer, buying different things. So, you know, you got to budget where you can. And so for me, this is somewhere where I want something a little bit more on the inexpensive side, but they can still do what I want. So hopefully this was helpful to you. Again, hit that like button down below. Hit that subscribe button as well. Don't forget to leave those comments. SK will get back to you. That's right. That's what I do. And I appreciate your time. See y'all later.